Hey Han, I'm Chloe and this is the inside leg hang or Scorpio tutorial. My mission is to share my passion for pole dancing and make pole dancing easy to learn and accessible. This is the 7th video of the intermediate pole trick tutorial series. In order to maximize your training out of all the videos, I highly recommend you to start from the very first video of this playlist, as the tricks will be a progression of the video before. The inside leg hang or Scorpio is another staple move aside from the outside leg hang or Gemini. The prerequisite for this move is to be able to do an ankle grab and a pancake straddle, so make sure that you've watched those tutorials before you start this one. We'll be going through 6 entries today like we did in the outside leg hang tutorial. This video is mirrored for your ease of learning. I'll have a red wristband on my right wrist and my right ankle to indicate the right side of my body if you do get confused of the directions at any time. This trick tutorial is created for you for information and educational purposes only, and for you to enjoy learning pole dancing from the comfort of your own home. Please participate at your own risk and don't work beyond your capability, and seek help or spotting when necessary. For any health concerns, please make sure you seek professional medical advice. Please also make sure you warm up your body before you start this video. I have a warm-up depending on your level under the playlist so that you can try it before you do the tricks. If you enjoy this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up so that I know to create more of these kinds of videos, and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't yet so that you are notified every single time I upload a video. If you're looking to further your pole journey and combining tricks and dance together, then consider subscribing to my online learning platform, Pole Art Vault, where we'll be putting combos and dance together and learning an entire routine. For further information, you can find the link in the description below. Alrighty, without further ado, let's get into our inside leg hang or Scorpio tutorial. Alrighty, let's get into our conditioning. We've got 3 conditioning exercises to do today, so let's start off with our first one. For our first one, we're going to do what I usually just call a leg 4 standing. Now, this is going to help you with the rotation of your hip as we hook our inside leg onto the pole in our inside leg hang. So, we're starting off on our inside leg, a step away from the pole, grab the pole with your inside hand at shoulder height. Now, outside leg is going to lift up, and we're going to hook our outside ankle just above the inside knee in this 4 position. Now, when you're in this position, we're going to start turning our knee out to the side as we squeeze through the glutes and press our hips forward. So you can see that I'm bringing up my knee out to the side, squeeze the glute and press the hip forward. And you should start to feel a good stretch through your hip here and your adductors as well. Now, if I'm just doing this from the side profile, you can see that I'm engaging my core, squeezing my glutes and pressing my hips forward at the same time. So just make sure that you work on this as you do the standing 4 leg. Now, the other option, if you feel like you're not feeling much, is you can stand a little bit closer to the pole, hook the ankle onto the pole and press your ankle or your foot into the pole as you press your knee out, and you should start to really feel that engagement through your adductors and your hips as well. Perfect, let's try this on the other side. So I'm hooking my outside ankle just above the knee. I'm going to turn my knee out as I press my hips forward, squeeze through the glutes. Again, if you don't feel much of the squeeze, it might be because you're not pressing hard enough. So think about pressing your knees out and back. I'm really pressing through the ankle, pressing my hips forward, squeezing through the glutes. Again, you can also press your toes or your foot into the pole to create more tension through pressing. Well done. So that's our first conditioning exercise. If you want to do maybe 3 more of those on each side, that's going to be really helpful in opening up your hips. Now let's move on into our second conditioning exercise, which is the leg squeeze. Now, this is similar to what we were doing just before, but this is going to help you actively squeeze the leg in as we turn our knee out. So, we're starting off with our inside leg. So, you're grabbing the pole with your right hand, so inside hand at shoulder height, and I'm bringing my leg out to the side as I align my knee to the pole. Now make sure that your knees are externally rotated, so I'm turning my toe out and I'm trying to show the inside part of my leg forward. Now from there, I'm going to bring my leg in as I turn my knee out, and I'm squeezing that leg in, out, in, and out. Well done. Let's try this on the other side. Again, you should be feeling a lot of squeeze through your glutes and also your adductors, because we're really squeezing a bit through the hamstring, but mostly your adductors, so inner part of your thigh, and also through your hip as well. All right, so turning your knee away, showing the inner part of your leg forward, squeeze, out, out. 2 more. Last one. Well done. Again, if you want to increase your reps so that you can feel even stronger, feel free to do that. Now let's get into our last conditioning exercise, which is going to help you with the back leg or your outside leg when you're coming into your inside leg hang. Now with your inside leg hang, it's more of a square hip. So instead of bringing my leg out to the side as if we were doing those conditioning exercises for the outside leg hang, rather than out, I'm kicking my leg backwards. So again, staying on your inside toe, grab the pole. If it helps you, you can also bring your body slightly further back. Make sure you're kicking your leg directly backwards this time. Make sure you're squeezing your core so that you're not opening your chest too much. Squeeze your glutes. 3, 2, 1. Well done. Let's try it on the other side. And make sure you're kicking that leg directly back this time. 7, 6, 5, 4. Squeeze your glute as you kick it back. 3, 2, and 1. Well done. So there's all your conditioning done for your inside leg hang or Scorpio. Now remember that you'll always have to work on your ankle grabs and your pancake straddle before you do this tutorial. And that's also going to give all the conditioning you need from the pull strength. So make sure you work on that before we attempt this. Let's get into our inside leg hang or Scorpio. Again, remember that the prerequisite move for this one is your ankle grab and also your pancake straddle. So make sure that you've watched them before you attempt this one. This is an inside leg hang or Scorpio. Alrighty, now let's break down our inside leg hang or Scorpio. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we've got 6 entries today, quite jam-packed tutorial today. So let's try this from the floor first. Now, you're going to lie on your back as if we were doing that Gemini tutorial just before. So you're getting your shelf right onto the pole, and you're grabbing the pole just above your hips. Now from here, you're going to bring your leg out into a pancake straddle. Then you're going to hook your inside ankle onto the pole. Now the placement of the pole, it should be just above the calf. And then you're pressing. As long as there's not a bony part, you should feel a little bit of sort of squish when you're pressing in, and you're pressing your inner thigh onto the pole. From there, my outside leg is going to kick backwards, and this is the inside leg hang. So you should still feel a lot of tension through the leg. Remember that once you come into your leg hang, that you want to lock it in by turning your knee in into an internal rotation. If you keep turning your knee out, you're going to lose that thigh grip, and it's going to be really tricky. So make sure that you're pressing that leg into the pole and getting that pole right into your shelf. Let's try it on the other side. I'm just going to do it on this side so that you can see the leg positioning now. I'm getting my shelf onto the pole, grabbing the pole just above hip height, and I'm coming into a pancake straddle. I'm hooking my inside leg as I turn my knee out. Then once you lock it in, you're going to turn your knee in. Think about pressing your ankle. I'm going to bring my outside leg back, and this is my inside leg hang position. Just make sure that your shelf is squeezed onto the pole. If this is hitting your rib cage or your hip, it might be because you're not placing the pole right in that little pocket. So make sure you really place that in a right shelf pocket. Cool. Now, just try remembering that leg position when you're coming into your inside leg hang. And now let's try it from a reverse plank. You're going to get your shelf onto the pole as you get your inside armpit onto the pole. Grab the pole just above head height, and we're going to get our legs just about shoulder height or a little bit wider if you need a little bit more balance. Now from here, you're going to pull through those hands. Think about pulling the pole out of the ceiling. Press your hips up until you get into a reverse plank. Now from there, you're going to hook your inside leg as you lift your outside leg up. You're going to kick your leg back, slide those hands out, and then your upper back might come onto the floor. That's totally fine. We are in our inside leg hang. Remember to really get that hook. You want to drive that outside leg down into the floor as much as you can, and you're going to get all the grip that you need. Let's try this on the other side. So I'm grabbing the pole just about above head height. I'm pressing my hips up into a reverse plank. Remember, lift both of your legs up as you hook your inside leg. Whoop. Kick that leg back, slide your hands out, drop your upper back onto the floor, and you are in your inside leg hang. Grab the pole back, lift your legs out, and coming out. Beautiful. Now there's your reverse plank entry. Now let's try this from the next entry, which is from a lunge. Now with our lunge entry, we're going to start on our knees, aligned to the pole, and grabbing the pole both just around inside hand neck height, outside hand cheek height. Now from here, I'm stepping with my inside leg, lifting my hips just at head height, hooking my inside leg onto the pole as I drive my outside leg back. I'm going to start sliding my hands out, then I'm in my inside leg hang. And your head might drop down onto the floor. That's totally fine because you're relatively low to the floor. Well done. Let's try this on the other side. So you're going to get your your knee at pole line. I'm going to grab the pole with my inside hand neck height, outside hand cheek height. Remember, you're stepping in with your inside leg first, then driving your hips up, hook your inside leg onto the pole as you bring your leg back. Slide your hands out, then you're dropping your head down into an inside leg hang. Well done. So there is your lunge entry into an inside leg hang. Now let's try 3 more entries. There's a lot to unpack today. Now next entry is from an ankle grab. Now, once you come into your ankle grab, you're going to drop your hips slightly down, hook your inside leg as you drop your outside leg backwards, and then you're going to end up in an inside leg hang. So, I'm just going to do it from this angle so that you can see. So we're coming into our ankle grab. We've done this one before. So once you come into your ankle grab, you're going to get the pole right into your shelf. you're gonna start dropping your hips down, unravel your inside leg forward, drop your outside leg down, and then you end up in an inside leg hang. To come out, grab the pole back, and then stepping out. Well done. Now, when you're doing that entry, just make sure that you drop your hip down, and remember that unlike an outside leg hang, rather than looking down to the floor, you want to start tucking your chin in until your head, your hips are leveled. Then you hook your inside leg, because this is a pancake straddle sort of like entry. So we're going to come into an ankle grab on the other side. Let's try this on the other side. Ankle grab, get that pole right into your shelf, drop your hips down, hook your inside leg as you drop your outside leg down, get it right into your pocket, then you're in your inside leg hang. Well done. So there is your fourth entry. Just remember not to graze that pole on your rib cage or your hips, because that's gonna hurt. Now, let's go into our next entry, which is a kick up. So with our kick up, you're going to get your pole right into your shelf, inside armpit on the pole, outside and on top. Now this time, you're going to tuck both of your knees in, hook your inside knee onto the pole, or your calf, I should say, and you're dropping your outside leg down into an inside leg hang. So we're here, you're looking towards the top of the pole, both of your knees bent like a froggy tuck, hook your leg, drop that leg back, slide your hands out into an inside leg hang. To come out, straddle out, and coming down. Well done. Now let's try this on the other side. And this time, rather than doing a froggy tuck, I'm going to keep my back leg straight so that you can see the progression of a nicer entry. Now with that one, I bend both of my knees because that's easier in terms of the entry. But this time, if you want to think of a progression, then try to keep your outside leg as straight as possible. So once I come into my stronghold grip, I'm going to hook my inside leg onto the pole, keeping that back leg straight into my inside leg hang. Well done. So there is our fifth entry into an inside leg hang. Let's go through our very last entry, which is from the pancake straddle. Again, like the outside leg hang, you want to make sure that you still take the progressions and regressions wherever you are. Always start off with the easier one, and then if you feel like you can progress into it, I want you to really work towards the progression very slowly, and ultimately you want to make sure that you can do your inside leg hang from a pancake straddle rather than any of the entries that we've done just then. So having said that, our last one, we're coming into a pancake straddle. Remember, you must watch the pancake straddle tutorial before you attempt this one. Remember that I won't be breaking it down in this tutorial, so you watch the pancake straddle tutorial before attempting this entry. So, we're getting the pole into a pancake straddle. Hook that inside leg, slide your hands down as you drop your leg back, and slide out into your inside leg hang. To come out, grab the pole just in between where your knee creases, come back into a pancake straddle, and then you're going to step out with control. Well done. Let's try this on the other side. So you're coming into a pancake straddle again on your other side. Hook that leg, drop your outside leg down as you slide your hands out. Drop it down into your full inside leg hang. To come out, grab the pole back into your pancake straddle and stepping out. Well done. Whew, that is all the 6 entries for your inside leg hang or Scorpio. That was very, very loaded. Remember, take your time going through all the entries. I think Chetty is very proud of you too. Aren't you? He says, Well done. Alrighty, now let's go through some tips and common mistakes. Now, first common mistake, not going through the tutorials. Now, this is a very obvious one. I've mentioned this multiple times already, so I'm sure you're already sick of listening to me say this. But remember, I cannot stress this enough, make sure you watch your ankle grab tutorial and also your straddle, pancake straddle tutorial before attempting this. This is going to really help you solidify your foundations for being able to get the inside leg hang very solidly. Now, second common mistake I want to go through is our leg positioning. Now, remember that if you still feel like you're not sure of the leg positioning, the easiest way to do this is from the floor. So, grip points for this one, it's your shelf, it's your inner thigh, back of the calf, and that's essentially it. So there's 3 grip points. So with your outside leg hang, you use your inside arm on the pole. However, for this one, you do not need your inside arm grip. You are not using your inside arm grip. This is another common mistake that a lot of people think that we use. You're like, oh my God, I'm trying to get into my armpit, but I can't. It's because we don't use it. So remember that your first point of entry, get your pole right into your shelf. Again, if you don't have grip on your shelf, get some grip aid on your inside thigh, grip aid on the back of the leg as well. And once you hook that leg, you can see that I don't use my arm at all. I'm just dropping that outside leg down, and this is my inside leg hang position. So remember, if you have dry skin, if you have sweaty skin, make sure that you get something drying, so like powdery if you are sweaty, and if you are dry, then make sure that you get something sort of more tacky on your skin so that you can get the grip that you need, because you're really going to need it. Now, the other thing is obviously, because you need your shelf grip, if you are wearing a shirt or something, a material that sort of drapes down, make sure you tuck it up so that you got that grip on your shelf. Now, you obviously need thigh grip as well. So if you are wearing shorts that ride a little bit lower, maybe like biker shorts or gym shorts that are a little bit longer, you're gonna have to tuck it up. So make sure that you tuck it, because some people tend to forget to do that. You're like, how come I can't grip on the pole? It's because your shorts are very long and you've got material or like t-shirt as well. Now, let's again go through the rotation of your knee when you're doing your inside leg hang, because that's another crucial part. Now, with your inside leg hang entry, you're trying to turn your knee externally. So I'm turning my knee out as much as I can so that I can hook onto the pole. Now, once you get into the move and you want to hold that position, that's when you want to lock your knee in so that you're in an internal rotation. So I'm just going to show this from a different angle so that you can see what's happening. So once I lie on my back, when Chetty can move, I'm going to turn my knee out. So externally rotate that knee. I hook onto the back of the calf. So you can see that the band is just sitting, this is my ankle, and it's a little bit higher up. From there, I'm turning my knee in to lock that in, and I'm kicking my outside leg down to the floor. So remember to utilize the internal and external rotation of your knee, and that's gonna really help you grip onto the pole as you need to. Now, the next tip I wanna give you is the outside leg kick. Now, we worked on this conditioning earlier. Remember that when you come into inside leg hang, the outside leg kick is as crucial as the inside leg hook. Now, the reason for that is if you don't kick that outside leg down to the floor, then you're going to drop all the way down as such, and I'm going to scare my cat as I did too. So you can see that I just dropped tremendously down to the floor. That's due to my back rounding. I'm not kicking my leg down, so that's not creating any tension through the leg, and it's almost acting as a lever. Now, you can optionally bend your back leg, which is another aesthetic choice that you can make. So you can essentially bend your back leg in an inside leg hang if you'd like, but usually I just prefer that leg extension. Just make sure that you're kicking that leg down, either you're bending it or straightening it. Kick that toe down to the floor as much as you can, and you will feel that you'll get more of that lever, and as soon as you kick it down, you'll feel that you're gonna stop sliding down to the floor. Now, the next point I wanna go through is your upper body in the inside leg hang position. Now, with your upper body, you wanna make sure that you're opening through your chest, and this applies same with the Gemini tutorial that we did. Try not to hunch your back, because as soon as you hunch, you're going to drop all the way down like we did before. So make sure you're really opening through your chest and looking down to the floor. Now, when you get into the move, you still want to keep your body horizontal to the floor, but when you're in the move, you want to open your chest as much as you can. So when I'm coming in, I'm keeping my back flat, I'm looking at the pole. As soon as I drop it down, I'm looking down to the floor, kicking that leg down. So make sure that you're really opening through the chest. Now, the second part of the upper body point that I had was that your hand gestures. Now, with your hand gestures, there's multiple different ways of doing this, because with, I guess, like if you like that sort of like straight look, like very gymnastics, you know, if you like that vibe, you can go for it. I'm more of a background of figure skating and flamenco, which is a little bit more flow and, you know, working through the hands a little bit more. And I quite specialize in that because I've got years of training in it, is moving through your hands. Now, unlike the Gemini, because your inside arm is free, you can actually do whatever you like with your hands. You can trace it up your body, you can bring it up and over, you can bring both hands up at the same time, or if you like asymmetrical vibes, then you can make one hand down, one hand up. You can create asymmetry through your hands, or if you like symmetrical, you can make your hands symmetrical as well. So remember that with your inside leg hang, you always want to work through your hands as well, rather than keeping it still. Maybe you want to keep moving it, drop it down. It's really up to you. Just make sure that you keep moving your hands. And that's going to really elevate that move. Again, it's an option, but I always find that these little trinkets of just making things look good, it just elevates the move like 10 times. Now, let's talk about our entry into the inside leg hang. Now, remember that entries and exits are always a crucial part of pole and learning pole tricks. One, it's going to help you really build that strength. Two, obviously aesthetic reasons, and it's also going to help you mitigate any injuries, because you're not jumping out of things, you're not putting a ton of pressure in your body, so it's a very, very safe way to execute everything. So, ultimately, you obviously want to get into your pancake straddle, into your inside leg hang. So remember that when you're doing your entries, you want to make sure that your hips are parallel to your head. Hips parallel, so even if I'm doing an ankle grabber, I'm making sure that my hips are a bit lower, hooking my inside leg, dropping that leg down, and then coming into the inside leg hang. Now, if you feel like your shelf is not on the pole, just make sure that you drop your hip low as possible and then scooch your shelf onto the pole and then get it into the right positioning. It's very common that your rib hits the pole or your hip hits the pole. It might be because you're either pulling yourself into the pole and your chest isn't facing directly up. So make sure that rather than pulling yourself in, so your chest to pole, both chests facing up into the ceiling, and that's gonna keep your hip square, much easier to hook that inside leg onto the pole. This is a really common one because when you're scared of doing a move, you want to sort of like hug the pole, pull yourself in. Remember, chest facing up into the ceiling when you do your inside leg hang. Now, The next one I want to talk about is your hands. So when you're getting into your inside leg hang, if you feel like your hand is trapped, a few different reasons for this. It might be because when you're hooking your leg, you are hooking your hand, your leg over your hand. Now, when you're grabbing the pole, you just want to make sure that you're grabbing your hand in a neutral position where your hand isn't wrapped all the way around. So make sure that you can see the V of your fingers when you're grabbing the pole. Now, when you're doing your leg hang, what you want to do is slide your hand out and then out. So what I mean is, let's say for example, I'm doing an inside leg hang here. You can see that my hand is trapped. Slide your hand out and then down towards you so that your hand is out of the way. So what I'm doing with my hands again is my hand is here. I'm sliding it out, then turning it in. If you keep sliding it out, if you try to turn your hand in and slide it down, your leg is still stuck. So your hand is going to get stuck. So make sure that you slide your hand out and then slide it forward as you bring it in. So it's almost like you're creating this like rotation through the hands. So from external to internal. And that's how to get your hand out of the way when you do your leg hook. Now, in terms of the leg hook, if you feel like you're still getting stuck, it might be because you're hooking your knee a little bit too low. So make sure that your hand should be right where your knee crease is when you're hooking onto the pole. So when I'm in this position, I'm hooking my knee high so that when I slide it out, you can see that my hands are right where the knee crease is. Then I slide my hands out of it. Now remember, in terms of your exit, you always want to exit really nicely. So grab the pole just where your knee creases again. Bring your leg out to the side, come back into pancake straddle, then stepping out. Now, if you do have thicker thighs and if you struggle to grab both of your hands where your knee crease is, you can place your inside hand at knee crease, outside hand just underneath, or vice versa. You can do either or, and you can step out of it. So when I'm here, I grab the pole, outside hand at knee crease, inside hand at hip, bring your leg out, and stepping out. So there's another option, especially for those that don't feel like they have enough space to grab the pole back. If your outside hand is at knee crease, inside hand at hip, then you have a little bit more space to grab the pole with both of your hands. And that is all the tips and common mistakes. Now for mindset tip today, I'd like to leave you with this quote that helps me with training as well. Your strengths don't come from winning. Your struggles are what helps you build that strength. Now, I always think to myself, how can I help myself feel motivated all the time, especially when you feel like you're always struggling with a move? Maybe you're currently going through this tutorial, maybe you're going through anything in life where you're just not feeling like you're achieving anything because you're just struggling doing everything. And honestly, I have those days too, or even weeks and months. When it comes to tricks and progressing through them, you feel like you need to progress at this constant rate, but sometimes it just doesn't work like that. Especially your outside leg hangs, your inside leg hangs, your straddles. These are really, really hard moves, and sometimes it could just take months or days or weeks, and it's going to be very different for everyone. Now remember that if you struggle now, this is going to really help you build such a good foundation, and not just in pole tricks, but once you achieve that trick, and you will if you are consistent with your training, that one day you're going to really build that resilience to feel strong and feel like you can achieve anything because you've had that struggle for so long. I really struggled through a lot of pole tricks in the past. I never gave up on them. I was extremely consistent with my training because I really believed in myself. And remember, I believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. Remember to borrow my belief, because I know for a fact, and going through this myself, that anything is possible through consistent training. So remember, always just be kind to yourself. Remember that anything is possible with consistency and passion. Thank you so much for joining me in the inside leg hang or Scorpio tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the next tutorial. Bye. You're such a good boy, aren't you? Do you want to say hi to friends? The mic is here. You're very close to the mic.